Welcome to the Magellan Network Show, episode number 361. And in this episode, what I want to spend some time with you guys on is understanding how to set and create a strategic calendar for financial advisors. Hi, my name is Coach Joe Lucas. And for those of you who do not know me, for over 32 years, I've done nothing but coach top financial advisor. We're talking about Barron's 50 list, multi-billion dollar leaders. And what I want to do in this episode is share with you the same strategies that I work with my personal clients on and members of Magellan Network into creating a year. All right. So let's talk about the strategic calendar. So what is so first of all, like what is a strategic calendar versus, the calendar that's in Salesforce or Redtail, right? Or any of the other CRMs. Those those calendars are what we call tactical calendars. Those are places where you're going to put your appointments, your to-dos, things like that. A strategic calendar is an entirely different calendar. So here are your options on creating it. You could create a separate Outlook calendar, right, and label it strategic, right? And you could do that in Google. You can do that at Yahoo. You can. I do have clients that have the big wall calendar and colored markers and things like that. So, or a month at a glance or a year at a glance, kind of a diary, right, or appointment book. I don't really care where you build it. It just has to make sense for you. Now, for me, we're a G Suite company here at Magellan. So I've got my tactical calendar, right? And I've got my strategic calendar, which I can toggle back and forth. And most of the online ones you could do that with. So number one is not your tactical calendar. Do not try to put it inside of there. It will cloud your thinking. Okay, that's rule number one. Rule number two. The goal is to be 12 to 24 months out in advance. 12 to 24 months. So if you've never done a strategic calendar before, I mean, 24 may be a push, but I would challenge you to go do it anyway. You can always change it, right? But you want to be out 4 to 8 quarters. 4 is the minimum. 8 would be preferable, right? I do have clients that go out. My calendar's out probably about 30 months right now, about 2.5 years. And some of your sinners saying, how could you possibly know what you're going to be wanting to do November 2028, for example, right? And that's a fair question. And here's what I would say. I don't know with absolute certainty, but here's what I do know is that when I have my calendar built out that far in advance, it forces me to create great integration between my personal life and my business life. Now, notice I use the word integration. I didn't use the word balance. Why? Because balance is a fallacy in this game. If you're an entrepreneur, you're always thinking about your business. I mean, for my business owners, we talk about this like all the time. Like, hey, when's the last time you went 24 conscious hours not thinking about your business? And the reality is, you don't. I mean, you're always thinking about it. That's the game, right? That's what we do. So the point I'm driving at is, try not to think about your business. You have to think about your business, then not try to think about it, right? It makes no sense. So it's always good. Now, in terms of that, let me give you the three types of time that we have and their definitions. And I can get more granular, but in this episode, we want to kind of keep things. I don't want to turn this into a masterclass. So there are three modes advisors have. Being in the game, tactical time, working on the game, strategic time, being away from the game, renewal or recovery time, right? So three types of time. And let's just talk about it in the context of days, right? The framework of days. Okay. Well, you've got to determine, and this is the way I work, is how many recovery days or rest days or vacation days do you want every year, right? So they're gonna go in first. So what most people do, and what most advisors do, is go the other way and figure out how many business days they need, and that's just wrong. Unless you're new. Now, if you're within the first 5 years of your career, then yeah, you're gonna have to buck up, right, and get some stuff down. So if you're a newer advisor, look, you're not gonna have a lot of downtime. That's just reality of it. You're in startup mode, right? You may start your career, and what I advise young advisors, many reach out to me via LinkedIn for some guidance, I'm happy to do so, is that I always say, look, when you become an advisor, however you get here, right? Your first day, you are basically like a surgical resident at a hospital. You have no life. And for the first couple of years, that's just the way it has to be, right? And if that is not appealing to you, then you'll probably do okay in this game, but you're not going to be great. And I'm all about being great, right? So I just want to be super clear on that. So, but your past 5 years doing your thing, and you're an owner, especially, you're gonna have three types of time. Now, we're gonna put our renewal recovery time in first. Um, because I'll be 62 this year, and I have planned no plans or so. I'm going to tell you how I work. So because I'll be 62 this year as I'm recording this, and I plan never to retire. I create 3 mini retirements a year, lasting 30 days each. Okay, so I will have three. That's 90 days, or if you want 12 weeks, right there. Keep it simple. And I, of that, and they go and there's 3 4-week chunks basically. That's 12. And then I'll have another 4 weeks throughout the year. Week here, long weekends, whatever. So it brings my total up to 16 out of the 52 weeks. And what's left is then going to get into strategic and that's strategic and tactical time, right? So for an advisor, it's like, how many weeks off do I want? And by the way, most advisors, when I say most, probably 90%, do not take enough downtime out of guilt of just not, what's the conversation? Oh, once I get caught up, I'll take some time. You're never caught up. I'm never caught up. I don't know any of my clients who are caught up. So if you have a rule that says, well, once I get caught up or things calm down, if things calm down, that means you stop growing. You don't want that. So the calendar forces accountability to yourself. Okay. It forces it. So that's really, really critical. So if we're starting out, and like, hey, I take 2 weeks off like a factory worker, right? Nothing wrong with factory workers, by the way. Then I would say, hey, this year go to 4 weeks, then go to 6 weeks next year, 8 weeks the following year, like grow into it, right? I started this when I turned 60, actually 59. I got a year jump on it, and it served me really well and allows me to stay in the game for as long as I like, right? So that's what you want to do. You really, really want to get some downtime. Now, working in the business, working versus on the business. So a quick rule looks like this. How many reviews do you need to do in a year? So that's our clients and our segmentation, and our relational model. How many reviews is comfortable for you in a day? Now, if you're doing surges, and surges is fine, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And let me a side note on. I'll give you guys a little sidebar on surges real quick. So I've got many clients practice surges, and I'm okay with that. Couple things real quick. Number one, you got to be careful about burning your team out, and I do not recommend more than 2 consecutive weeks in surge mode. I know some people can do multiple weeks or 4 to 6 weeks, and unless you've got like a lot of staff and like a lot of resources, you're going to burn yourself out and burn your team out. Okay, so 2 surge weeks, 1 non-surge week, 2 surge week. Why the non-surge week? Prospects need to meet. Clients that are not scheduled may have issues they need to meet with you on. You let your team catch up, because remember, your team's doing what? What's your team doing? They're prepping, and then they got to take all stuff that comes out of the meetings, right? Like, when do they catch their breath? So you create this like almost CPA tax return scenario, like 2 to 3 windows a year. You're just blowing them out, and then I know what you're saying. Yeah, but then they get the rest of and then you're like, what are they going to do, right? So even if it extends your surge window past 6 weeks, maybe it becomes 10 or 12 weeks, it's going to feel better, and it's definitely more sustainable. Okay. So you got to figure out, how many tactical days do I need? And in my perfect world, we are doing the number of reviews that's optimal for us, not what max capacity. Here's why. If you're running max capacity and you're a human, chances are that those later day reviews, you're not your best. You're just trying to get them through. Like, you're just trying to get them done. Like, oh, I just want to get through. I just want to get through this review. Well, if I'm the client, I'm like, am I getting your best? Are you 100% present? Or are you just kind of there, right? and you're almost like unconsciously doing the review because you're fried. And that's the dirty little secret about searches that are not done properly is you actually it's good for the advisor, not good for the team, not good for the client in some cases. All right. So you're doing searches, rethink it. I'm not saying not to do them. Give yourself grace, be a little flexible. All right. So you can figure out how many of those you need. Right. And then you're going to have your strategic time. So tactical time is working with clients, whether you're physically working with them in reviews or you're doing prep or projects for them, that's all tactical. So working in the business really means I'm with my clients, right? Or I'm prospecting or I'm marketing, but no like project, no segmentation project, no marketing project. It's really nuts and bolts driven. Okay. Now, strategic time, working on the business. What's that about? That is where we do the projects. That is where we'll do segmentation. That is where we'll update our website. That is where we'll do planning. That is where we'll go ahead and get our CE work done. That is where we'll go ahead and train and go to conferences and mastermind groups and things like that. So it's working on the business, getting a new skill, learning something. Those are your strategic days. Now, here's what some advisors try to do, and it does not work for 99% of them, is they have combo days of strategic and tactical. And let me just be very clear. There are some people that can pull it off. It is such a small minority, it's not worth discussing. Here's why. The brain, the mind has different modes, okay? When you're in strategic thinking mode, it's going to strategically think. It's not doesn't want to go tactical, right? And if you're tactical and then, oh, I'm going to spend, oh, I got 3 client reviews. Then at like 2 o'clock this afternoon, I'm going to work on my website. Your brain is so not ready for that. So not ready. And that's why in most cases, quite frankly, truth be known, that you will sit there and not do the website. You'll check on CNBC, maybe your fantasy league. You'll skim the news. Maybe you'll play with your AI tools, whatever. But you're not going to do what you do. Why? Because the brain doesn't want to do it because it's in a different mode. So, rule of thumb, strategic time is a day. And ideally, it's a day not in your tactical environment. So here's the other mistake advisors make is they will try to do strategic time in their office. And that's where the phones ring, the inbox is there, the team is there, and it doesn't work. So in most cases, strategic time, i.e. working on the business, needs to be done outside of the business. Coffee shop, home, library, wherever, right? Some of you say, well, how about the conference room? If you can literally guarantee yourself that you can close the door, put do not disturb on, and have nobody ever bother you like you're not there, then that could work. But I'm just telling you from my experience, it really doesn't work. All right. So those are your 3 times. Now, in terms of I'm not going to get into, well, I told you mine, like what's the proper allocation? So here's what I'm going to say about that. You're going to want, tactical time. You're going to need to know again your segmentation service. How many reviews a year? How many reviews do I want to do? And am I running a model where I do them 5 days a week, or am I really doing Monday as prep, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday is more like a marketing recovery day, right? So you got to figure that out. And there's no right or wrong. I've got clients that do 5 days of search meetings. I've got clients that will do them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday's prep, Fridays for prospects, right? Fine, no problem. Again, one size does not fit all. Some of you are in your point in your lives where you have small kids, that will dictate more. Some of you are in a point in your life like I am, where my children are all adults, and so I have a lot more free and flexibility to do what I do. So you just got to know where you are inside the game. But there are a couple what I'll call immutable laws based on my 32 years. Law number one: the more time you spend working on your business, the faster your business will grow. Which I know seems counterintuitive because we all just want to work and grind. But here's the thing: it's really about building systems, building strategies, deep thinking, strategically thinking. So the more time that you could spend thinking about your business outside of your business, right, uh, the better it's going to be. Immutable law number two: your breakthrough thinking will never happen in your office. It might happen on strategic time. You know where mine happens? On my renewal time. When I'm on a cruise or traveling the world, You get a different environment, your brain look, when you're in a different environment, your brain works differently. It's not comfortable. It's taking in all different kind of new sensory, scenarios, right? Because you're in a place you've not been to before. And that sometimes opens up new pathways of thinking. And, all my breakthroughs have happened when I'm on all my breakthroughs have never happened tactical time for sure, rarely strategic time, most likely renewal time. So, that's the other immutable law. Renewal time is non-negotiable. It has to be part of it. And I want you and somebody say, "Well, I take 2 weeks," and that's like an athlete who overtrains, right? Now remember, in our game, there's no off season. There just isn't. So you've gotta create and I create my offset. I'll share with you mine. So my sabbaticals run pretty much mid-December to mid-January, holiday sabbatical. And in that case, because the holidays, I'll probably have a small trip. I'll take a couple. I'll make sure I'm here for my wife wants to make sure we're here for Christmas and Christmas Day. And then typically what we've done is we head off for a 2-week cruise. On New Year's, we celebrate on the boat and away we go. My spring sabbatical, again, 4 weeks, that's where I'll put a big trip in. Why? Shoulder season in most parts of the world, and, you get to see in 4 weeks, will get you can see anywhere in the world. You can spend quality time visiting anywhere in the world in a month, and that's gonna be typically mid-April to mid-May. And then my summer one is going to be mid-July to mid-August, okay? Now notice how I do that. I never take a full calendar month off. So I always have, I always have days. And by the way, if you really look at the calendar, that's why the strategic calendar is so important. There are probably depending on the year, anywhere from 4 to 6, probably 4 to 5 months that have like almost like that long. They have like a fifth week in them almost, right? So you can really kind of play around with that. That's why I remember there's 52 weeks a year, 13 weeks a quarter. And what you got to think about is, how many weeks do I need to be tactical every quarter? How many weeks do I need to be strategic every quarter? And how many weeks do I need to or want to have for recovery, renewal, and sabbatical? Right now, when I've done this with my clients, it's fascinating because a lot of times when we look at the client base, and again, and how many clients we're first share on, right? So we look at that, and worst case scenario, if you have 150 households and you're doing 2 reviews a year, you got 300 meetings, right? 300 meetings. Let's say you can do 3 to 4 meetings a day. Let's keep it simple for this case. Three meetings a day. That's 100 days. Divided by 5 days. That's 20 weeks out of 52. Right now, if you did 3 days, I'm not going to try to do the math on top of my head. It will probably maybe 27, 28 days, maybe 30 weeks. Excuse me, 30 weeks. You still have 22 weeks, right? See, it's like if you take time and look at it as a tool, it's like a messy closet. Like if your days are messy and your calendar's messy, then when you like walking into a closet, it looks like there's no capacity. Man, I'm just so busy. There's no place. I got nowhere to go. But then you get it organized. You're like, all the room I have. Look, a lot of store. Man, I got all the storage now because it's organized. It's aligned. Here's your project. And it'll get you guys out of here this episode. I want you to do a calculation. A, how many clients am I responsible for doing reviews for? B, and if you're segment ABC, that's fine. Or one model, that's fine too. I don't care. How many reviews do I need to do in a year based on my current client load? How many reviews a day is comfortable for me? Again, and that's going to depend. If you're doing super high net worth, personal CFO, maybe 1 or 2 a day, and that's it because they're multi hours. Fine. Or if I'm dealing with mom and pop middle America, love those people, reviews like 20, 30, 45 minutes. I could probably do 4 or 5 of those a day. Right. But the caveat is that the number is predicated on my energy levels. So I'm not going to cheat anybody. I'm not going to show up not at peak state. I'm not going to just try to get through a meeting. I'm going to drive a result. So whatever that number is, that's the number, right? Then you figure out how many days a year do you need for that? And then you figure out, do I do 3 days a week, 4 days a week, or 5 days a week? And then you know how many weeks you need. And I will guarantee you that it is not 52. It's probably going to fall somewhere between 20 and 30. My experiences. Okay. And then you're like, wow, you're organized. Now your time closet's nice and clean. It's neat. It's organized. Now you're like, huh, let's say 25. Well, I got 52. So, man, that's like 27 weeks. Like, what do I do? What projects? Like, all of a sudden now, it's different. See, a lot of you just run the same day like Groundhog's Day, right? I have 1 or 2 reviews, and I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like you're jumping through in that little strategic project. Like it's great. Every day is the same. You don't want to do that. You want to have themes. You want to have focus points. You want to get things reorganized. It makes you a lot more sustainable, a lot more happy. Okay. So that's some things I want you to think about. So, A, how many reviews do I need to do? B, how many in a day do I want to do comfortably? C, am I doing those reviews 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week? Then D, how many weeks do I need? And then E, what are you going to do with the rest? Strategic time, renewal, recovery time. Keep that in mind. Thank you for watching and listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. If you want to check out our program, it's MagellanNetwork.net. And if you want to check me out, it's Coach Joe guru, Coach Joe, www, obviously, coachjoe.guru. Have a great week. See you all again next Friday.